Hi everyone, we're back with you on this episode. We have a bunch of stories to cover. The cover page, you can see me submerged as I'm in New Jersey. We've had quite a week here, and we'll talk about it a little bit. Keith, how are things on your end?
Things are calm in Seattle. Pretty nice summer here. Yeah, I'd ask you how you were doing, but I think all I'd get is bubbles back. Things have really been crazy where you are.
Yep, they have. Yep. And besides that, we'll cover on today's show the topics of COVID and the vaccine. And Texas dips back into the dark ages. We'll talk about it a little bit, and some on climate change. We have a bunch of things lined up. So let's before we launch in, you can contact us on Twitter through UHM No Joke with no spaces, and that's how you can talk directly to us. All right. Do you want to start off?
Sure. I found this one online and put it in here. It's a short. We're going to play it. It's the whole thing. And it's because, we've come out as the pro-vaccine channel in a sense, is that we believe in science, that, the vaccine in particular, it helps people out. It protects them, and it makes for fewer deaths and fewer hospitalizations. And so we're on the side of the doctors. And so let's just play this now.
I think it's important for everybody to understand that this is a preventable condition that is running into almost a disaster in healthcare, because something that we have available for everybody, something that can be given, people can actually prevent these things, these complications, and they're not really going for it. If you think about it, we have the resources to get this for everybody. We have the vaccine that can prevent this from becoming a national emergency like it is right now, and yet there are people in the world that want this vaccine, they don't have it, and here we are with this ability to have it, and nobody wants to have it for reasons that I don't understand. We are humans too, and we're getting exposed to this every day, and we getting tired of having to deal with this stress. The science is there. This is a community issue. We need this communal or collective immunity to stop it. We know the numbers. You need to have over 80% of people vaccinated to prevent this from going. And I just don't understand, and we don't understand why there's so much resistance to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is there so much resistance to, what's been accepted as we've known many things for a long time. And it's like, I can't believe how stupid people got in the last 2 or 3 years. And let's just move right on and play the next slide. There's another video there. We have it's a long show made by Kim Iverson. We're only going to play a brief brief clip, and then we'll talk about it.
Is she related to ivermectin? Oh,
no, don't say that. Oh no! Ah!
All right, let's roll it. Go.
Even during the smallpox outbreak, when vaccines became mandated, the certificate of immunity clearly gives clearance for those who had previously recovered from smallpox. So what's the difference now? Why suddenly, after over 100 years of recognizing previous infection as a robust form of immunity, are we suddenly rejecting science by forcing vaccines on absolutely everyone? Are public health officials just caving to the demands of a frightened public? Are they caving to the desires of greedy big pharma? In the European Union, where some countries have implemented vaccine passports, people can obtain one by either showing proof of vaccination, testing negative for the virus within 72 hours, or through proof of recovery from previous infection. This is based on sound science. So what is it that is causing this sudden rejection of widely accepted science here in the United States? We currently have colleges, corporations, big tech, politicians, and U.S. public health officials all openly excluding natural immunity as a basis for medical exemption.
Yeah. The thing is, vaccines are good, but if you don't force them on people for no reason. If you're going to take away somebody's freedom in the public good, you don't take away a freedom that doesn't do anything. And in the Constitution, you're guaranteed all freedoms that are not explicitly taken away by a law, right? So here we have a case where science through the many decades of many diseases and many vaccines, and diseases, you develop a natural immunity to it. And if you have that natural immunity, the state has no business mandating that you have to have a vaccine, because the vaccine does no good. It has no effect at all. And you're taking away a freedom for no good reason. And you can't do that. And so I'm putting that out there to all the anti-vax people to show that we are actually very reasonable about all this, and that everything we advocate that for the public good is for the public good and no other reason. And we want to make clear distinctions on that. So I thought that would be good, because, the fact is, you asked me how I was doing, and out here, COVID is on our minds. Tuesday, the state is going to start mandating mask wearing outdoors. It's like, things a month ago, I was starting to get feeling kind of good. Things were lightening up. We were able to get out a little bit. We'll cover some later. The Extinction Rebellion has been very busy in London, and happy crowds unmasked, and like, how can they do that? And I'll mention they shouldn't really be doing that later. But, things were looking pretty good. And now things have really turned, and the hospitals are full. We're at maximum capacity. I think Oregon's like at 95%. And so that means that people who need care are not getting care. And on the COVID disaster goes, just ignorance builds on ignorance. And what's the next slide here? Amos, you put this one in there.
I did. Since this thing got so politicized, there's a reason why some people are not in favor of vaccines and others are. And a lot of it has to do with the social media engineering of how people get their news and where they're getting their news from. And there's a clear political connection between how people relate to something that should be scientific or fact-based and politics. And here we have a graph that was conducted by Charles Gaba, and it compares the Trump support in the election of 2020 in on the county level, and you can see a clear connection between how people voted and COVID deaths. So this has real effect. It's killing people, and it's a shame, and it's cynical, and it's just it's sobering to see something like that.
People are really dying. You don't see it in your daily life. I don't know of anybody, but I believe the news that the hospitals are full of people, that are being treated. And, just as an aside, I was reading something about the housing crisis. That thing's been going on, and there are various protections that are running out and so on. And, the thing is, unhoused people spread COVID. I mean, homeless camps got to be breeding grounds. And some researchers actually did some studies, and they determined that there were 11,000 excess deaths during a 6 months period because of the way the housing situation was handled. If we had fewer homeless people, we'd be doing better about COVID, which kind of introduces the next tape. And I want to say a few comments about this thing. I found this yesterday, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Amos play it, and he can kill it when he wants to. This particular channel, it's called Kimgary and
how do you spell that?
That's a weird name. Kimgary. Let's see, I have it here. Let me see. Yeah, Kimgary, and he's got 86,000 subscribers. And the tape I watched that kind of blew me away yesterday he made it August 15th, and it has over 1 million views. And what it is, it's an area of Philadelphia, and I'm on the West Coast. I don't know anything about Philadelphia, and I don't think I ever want to go there either after seeing this, what you're going to see. Dirty, goes on forever, and I've been to the West Coast slums, and nothing like this. I just can't believe. Let's play it, and then we'll talk about it a little more.
All he's doing is basically set a camera on the side of his car, like watching out of the window of his car, and he's driving around neighborhoods. And what you see is completely wrong. Let's watch.
Yeah, just plain wrong. Yeah, it's amazing. That's the thing. Just a camera out a window.
Yeah, you watch this, and what comes to mind is this is what misery looks like, and this is the streets of the U.S. It's not some slums in India or Haiti, or this is what our people live like. Millions of people.
That's what really impressed me watching this thing, is that these people, this is the way these people are living. And they really are without hope or aspirations. They've been beaten down, and some of them, they just feel hopeless. And, maybe I'm reading too much into their head, but one thing I did when I watched this, I was aware of the physical surroundings, the how dirty everything is, but I really was watching the people. And if you watch some of his tapes closely, I mean, you actually see people shooting up drugs. Most of these people are listless. They're spacing out because they actually are high. Area is like the number one area of the country where for fentanyl deaths or something. It's Kensington in Philadelphia, and I looked it up. I found it on Google Earth. It's just like off the charts in terms of misery. And I just wanted to bring it and remind everybody why we are kind of have a leftist progressive bent, is that, the world, this is not okay. This is not the way people should be living. This is not what we want in our country. And so what are we going to do to fix this? And I want to ask that question. I'm kind of not answering questions today. I'm asking a few, and I think they need to be asked.
What is this lady doing in this picture
Well, she's this one. If you slow down the tape, I actually did at this because I wanted to know what she was doing, and she's high. She's tweaking. She's carefully studying a mask, and she's just staring at it, and she's not aware of her surroundings or anything that's going on around her. It looks like she might be selling her body, but that's not what's going on. And the tape is full of people like this. If you stop and you look at them, they're in strange contorted positions because these people it's the number one area of opioid abuse. So in a sense, these are not normal homeless people. These are homeless people that kind of been pre-selected for extreme mental illness, so you could say, or extreme drug addiction. It's just a real messed up situation. And one thing I want to mention that comes to mind, and maybe part of the reason I put this tape in here, is I was watching something earlier in the day about how Finland handles their homeless crisis, because they don't have one. And they have a different approach to taking care of homeless people. And they have something called a housing first initiative or philosophy. And that is, you get people off the street, you give them housing, and then you deal with their issues and their problems, and you mandate their health care, you mandate their mental health, or you do whatever it is you need to do. But you take care of the housing need first. And regarding the COVID situation, that's what we should be doing that anyway to prevent the spread of the disease. But the point is, in America, we do things differently, where when we offer people shelter, they have to do things to earn it. And it's a progressive system where you're asking broken people to fix themselves so that they can earn housing, because that's the way the American way of thinking goes, where the thinking more in Finland is these people have mental problems. Their needs must be provided for immediately. Then we work on their issues. And obviously, in America, we are doing something wrong, because this area of Philadelphia goes on for miles. It's not small at all.
Yeah, that's true. And we have some comments. Human Love Solidarity says people make money filming the homeless. I don't know if that's the intent of this channel. It's not the intent of this channel. Since I looked at the channel, I read the about page and all about, and the person, I don't believe, he's gotten lucky, obviously. How did you know that you're going to get 1 million views for just putting your camera out a window? That's incredible.
That's pretty lucky. But he makes a very clear statement on his on his channel that he wants to show the best and the worst of America, and this is the worst, and we need to deal with it. And I agree. So there's no financial incentive to this. He's just a guy with a camera.
Kevin Teway says, "See Invisible People podcast." It's religious-based. Apparently, it's a religious-based channel.
Not strongly religious. I've seen it. I recommend it. It shows. It may have some bias that way, but I didn't see that it was extreme.
Right. Oz asks, is that where the people from Afghanistan are going to end up, or do we fail them here like we did these people? Being serious with this question. I think that we're failing both. It's not. There's no contradiction here. We've failed Afghanistan, and we're failing our own citizens. And the fact that there was no clear direction with Afghanistan, and they kept rolling it and just spending money just with no vision of how to fix the problem is a shame, because a lot of this money that could have been diverted to create social programs and help these people got wasted on military spending in Afghanistan. Now, I'm not saying that we should have necessarily just abandoned Afghanistan. I think that they should have just done better, and there was just no interest whatsoever to figure out how to oust the corrupt Afghani government and fix things there so that we could finally leave without everything falling apart. But that's...
I'll answer Oz's question too with a no. People coming from Afghanistan would probably have the sense to avoid an area in America where there are feces on the streets, and because that's what we're talking about here. If Oz and if you and I were dropped into this area of Philadelphia, we would look at each other and say, "Let's get out of Dodge." That would be number one. Get the hell out of there, because this area is full of people who are broken. I did look up the area in traditionally, like through the 50s. It started suffering from what they call the urban exodus when industry was leaving, and a lot of the local people, which were working class people, were kind of trapped in this area because the housing prices continued to fall, and so it became more and more depressed through the decades. But in the last 10 years or so, the decline in the area has really taken off, and they've had multiple homeless camps. They clean one up and a new one pops up a mile away, and it's kind of an epicenter of what's going on all over the country, which is why we have it here.
And let's not forget that a lot of it is manufactured. A lot of these problems are created by the opium epidemic, and that was caused by the pharmaceuticals that just dumped drugs into the neighborhoods. And just a side note on that, this week the Sackler family that was responsible for a lot of this pandemic, the opioid pandemic, is basically came to an agreement, and they are no longer going to be able to be prosecuted. They barely lost any wealth from the total wealth. They're still among the richest families. And meanwhile, everybody is suffering. That the money that they have paid in the settlement is not merely going to cover a fraction of what damage and human damage. It can't even be repaid. But let's say just the financial aspect of it, it's not even covering a fraction of that. So this is justice in the U.S. today.
Yeah, and one thing about the opioid crisis is that there are actually people that need opioids, people who've had, say, failed back surgeries and things like that. Yep. And one thing that the irresponsibility of the family did was the people that actually need the medication and deserve to have it, and hey, you're a drug addict, but it's okay. We'll give you a supply for life, because if you don't have it, you'll be in screaming pain. They can't get it because they're they have trouble getting it. And all sorts of laws, you have like the Elizabeth Warrens, who only, think things halfway through, making all sorts of extreme, mandates that, are interfering with people who need it. And, that's not ever talked about. So I don't want to mention that.
And another thing regarding Kevin Tewe says that there's no such thing as progressive. There's either socialist or capitalist and nothing in between. And I tend to disagree with that. I do consider.
I think he's got a point.
Well, no, I don't think I'm not necessarily a socialist. I know you consider yourself one, but I don't necessarily consider myself a socialist, and I guess that depends on how you define socialism. But I do see the need for the economic system of changing, maybe in a democratic socialist manner, which is not really socialist, although the name kind of is misleading on that. But I do think that unfeathered capitalism is
a nightmare.
Is a nightmare, and it has to change. So I guess there's different shades of gray, if you like, on this. So that's what we had on this, and let's cover the latest in New Jersey. I had a show this week. I have actually personally had like quite an experience with this flood in the Northeast. I am right smack in the center of all of this, where all of this happened. I was trying to get home from across town. Almost got swept twice with my car downtown, where there was a couple of rivers going through, and no way that I was trying to get home could be accomplished. I eventually had to find a high spot, stop the car, and wait for hours before attempting to return home. And it's really something when you feel it. You see it on TV somewhere else. It doesn't feel the same way. When you're in it and you're driving and you don't know whether you're gonna be able to cross it. And the scary thing about it is that it's not like you see where you're going in and then you decide whether you're gonna cross it or not. By the time you realize what the water is doing and how deep it is, you're already smack in it, and you can either back out or you can try to continue through it. But you're, by the time you realize what's going on, you're in it. So that is something that I did not realize prior to that. And feeling that engine revving and the car barely moving and moving a little sideways is just an experience I'm not going to forget very, very quickly. I've had this special this week where we collected clips from across New Jersey and some from New York. I recommend watching it. There's some amazing imagery there.
So people were drowning in their cars, right?
There were people who drowned in their cars. Right now, I think they're like presumed 43 dead across New York, New Jersey, from what the last I've seen. And these people who are known, they're not yet pronounced dead, but they pretty much know there's people that drowned in their cars and stuff like that. So the death toll is probably going to go even higher. But what I wanted to discuss is subways, and this is something the 20th century brought us. Subways. Mass transportation seemed like the solution for mass transportation. Every big city has them, and we may have to reconsider mass transportation, because what is starting to happen is these since every subway is underground, this is where the water flows. By definition, I mean it's going to the lowest point. So this is what it looked like in New York. And here's another one.
It just got filled up.
That these things are really traps, became traps. Here's one recent from China. There are 12 people who got killed in the Chinese subway after a recent flooding. And basically, there's no way to get them out if the subway gets stuck, and it's an electric vehicle, so it's likely to
short out.
You get stuck there, and if the thing fills up with water, you toast. Well, toast might be the wrong analogy here, but
Soggy toast.
Yeah, soggy toast maybe. Yeah, it's quite something, and I think that that's going to be a problem moving forwards. I think I don't know what if you watch those clips, you saw people attempting to still go in the subways, and I think that the subways should close.
I was wondering what that woman was doing, walking right into it.
Yeah,
seemed pretty strange.
Yeah. I mean, but I think the subways should close. They have not this time, and we're lucky there hasn't been mass casualties. But I think that that the whole concept of a subway in a flood is a bad idea, and this is currently what we're looking at. I don't think I think this is the new normal.
Well, you know, people
sadly
in the Midwest grow up with a flood awareness. Certainly not like this, but you know, in the Midwest, every summer forever, you've had serious thunderstorms, tornadoes, and stuff. And sometimes they would dump water, you know, and cause, say, a local flooding. And so people growing up in that environment learn that, you know, like the car, you do not drive through water. You're taught at a young age that people who do that, you know, don't come to a good end. But, you know, if you've never experienced that, like I've never heard of this stuff in New Jersey before. Yeah. And Seattle, like, is on the West Coast. And when I moved out here a long time ago, I noticed the weather was more mild, and only in the last few years has it gotten more, you know, extreme. But yeah, it depends where you are, and the adjustment is hitting everybody. Yeah. And we'll be hitting that in, I think, maybe the next slide. I'm not sure. Oh, yes, here we go. Yeah, you know, I was on a few weeks ago, and I had my computer crash, and so I don't know where I wasn't covering this. So I got back to this since, you know, Amos just experienced it firsthand. And this is the physics of climate change. What's actually going on? And it's that the deal is as you warm in temperature, the air can hold more water. And so a warm air is going to produce a dramatic thunderstorm where cooler air might not do as much. And if you look at this graph here, you know, and we look at 20 degrees C is 68 degrees, and 30 degrees is 86 degrees. And if you look, that's a difference of 2 to 1, or 17 versus 31, you know, in terms of the vapor pressure. So that's how much. So it can basically, you change the temperature that much, and the air can hold twice as much water, which means it's going to dump twice as much when it rains. Yeah. So this explains in part, you know, what's going on. And the significant fact of this, if you look at the graph, it only goes up. So that means that next year it's only going to be worse. And so how bad will it get? We really don't know. I tried looking, reading about tropical storms and everything. They concentrate on hurricanes and such. And there's no clear answer on this. But this is basically what's going on. And as we put more CO2 in the atmosphere, as we burn more fossil fuels, we're going to have more and more extreme weather.
Yeah, folks, call your representatives, call the White House switchboard. There's got to be a stop to fossil fuels. There's really nowhere around that, and that may affect us. It may be uncomfortable, and there's going to be a steep curve of changing things over to green technologies. But this gotta be done as soon as possible. We're already seeing all of this, and this has a momentum. This is going to continue building up worse and worse. And our only hope is that we won't reach the so to speak, the tipping points that will make it irreversible.
The people in the UK are taking it pretty seriously. They have their XR movement, which really we have nothing like that yet. Like they just had a week of very heavy protest. In fact, here we have it up. Let's play this. This is a minute long. It just shows people getting arrested. So being arrested in Britain looks to be a little more gentle than being arrested in America.
And this doesn't come cheap, so you can't be poor and protest, because each of these arrests in the US, it's about $100 to $200 fine just to get arrested.
Yeah, there's people trying to make a difference. Yeah, and let's go on the next slide.
$150 at the pop. Yeah. This can't be the solution. There's gotta be something we can do, because we're gonna get poorer and poorer as we protest. I'm not trying to be facetious, but that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, so it's an ongoing protest in London, and I have this slide in here because this should be a live feed. So you are on a live, if you're watching us right now, you're on a live show, and we're going to fire up a live feed of what's going on in London, and we don't even know what we're going to see. So let's play it when you finish it when you're done there, Amos.
So I hope that the people of this land can give up on the idea of nature and start believing in the idea of humanity, not of white supremacy. Not of white supremacy, because that's your idea of what it means to be human, but it cannot be ours. It cannot be ours. It cannot be the global families. Thank you for having listened today. We're here to decolonize conservation because there is no other way to face the climate and ecological crisis we face. Without decolonizing conservation, we will be complicit in ecofascism, because that will be done in our name. What does ecofascism mean to you? Are you speaking about it? Are you centering that? I hope you will. You can look up more about the campaign at WTF.WWF.org, and we're having an informative talk about decolonizing conservation more broadly on Monday night, if you'd like to look us up on socials as well. And yeah, thank you and God bless you.
I wish we could.
Thank you very much for your kind, warm attention.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of requests.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the ongoing protest in the UK. And what's the answer? Go cold turkey fossil fuels. That's been suggested, and we've got to do something. But what does that do?
Or at least not keep driving in that direction full speed, because that's what we're doing right now. I think we covered this a couple of weeks ago, where Biden was saying we should get back to normal as to fuel consumption, and
asking the Saudis
disagree.
to raise lower prices.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right now what's going on, there's a global increase in the natural gas price, and that's severely affecting the cost of sugar in Europe, and there are other things, and it's producing inflationary pressure that's going to be passed on to the consumer, which means that if you just go cold turkey off fossil fuels, we're all going to get poor, and nobody wants to do that. But we all want life to go on, so we're kind of in a pickle here. Well, and do I have answers? I said earlier that I don't. I brought some questions to this show, and like me for it or hate me for it, but I want to get this out there and talked about. At least they're doing it in the UK, and we've got to do it here. Yes. Look what just happened in Seattle this summer with our heat. Look what just happened to Amos with his flood, and Marcus in Germany. There's no end to this, and it's only going to get worse. So we've got to become aware, take this seriously, and make the necessary changes so that life goes on.
But it's extremely difficult to raise political activism in the United States, as we discovered, trying to organize for Medicare for all. And now the October projected general strike. It is hard to have a mass action in the United States today because the way the media is controlling everything. So it's kind of frustrating to us.
Well, Chris Hedges say you do it anyway. You just keep trying. You fight fascism because that's the right thing to do.
Right. We have no other choice, of course. Yeah. But right. Supporting Green New Deal, pushing it in the political sphere is vital. And I don't know. You're saying we would all get poor if we stop reliance of fossil fuels. The reality is that we're going to be poor one way or another because the events that we're bringing on to this earth, these disasters, they're costing billions. We're in the tens of billions of dollars in damage just from Ida across Louisiana and the Northeast.
Yeah, Kensington today, your neighborhood tomorrow.
Right, and so we're talking about being poor one way or another. If it gets worse, we're going to be even more poor. So which would you prefer? Solving the problem and living with the consequences of that fight, or just giving up and just being decimated? Either way. So yeah, that's unfortunately that's where we stand. What about this slide here? That's this what you just discussed. Yeah.
This is just a hard question nobody wants to talk about. It just what we touched. The sugar production in France is dependent on the cost of natural gas, and the cost of natural gas goes up, so the cost of croissant in Paris is going up. And if your paycheck doesn't go up to meet that, then that's called inflation. And well, it's called inflation anyway. But if your paycheck went up to meet it, it'd be okay. Yeah. But your paycheck doesn't. So what this means is just tightening up, and how are we going to do it is what it means. So, yeah, I'm trying to answer the question that I put out here to irritate everybody with, that I don't have an answer for. So this is just documenting that, fossil fuels kind of make life as we know it possible. And just going cold turkey is a rather emotional statement that doesn't really produce any good effect. And what can we do to make things right? And that's the question I'm asking. What can we do, people? Write in. Also, by the way, I was going to mention, if anyone out there has, had the vaccine and they regret it, I think we would like to hear from you. We could have you on the show and interview you. I'm serious. If anybody out there has gotten the vaccine and they regret it, we want to hear.
I'm sure some people have had responses, but it's relatively rare. The question is, where do you focus on? Like, what do you focus on? The people who manage to avoid getting severely sick from COVID, or do you focus on the few who got a bad reaction to the vaccine? That's
well,
really
I'm asking the question to be snarky, and I think everybody knows it.
All right. So in Human Love and Solidarity, it says localization is the answer. All right. So let's move to the next topic, and that's Texas dips into the dark ages. We've heard the news that Texas legislated a new law which other conservative states are looking to copy. And
so, Amos, do you understand this well? Maybe you can explain it better than I can. What I know is that the Supreme Court had a certain amount of time to strike down this law or respond to it, and if they didn't act within that certain time, it became the law in Texas. Is that it?
Yeah, it was appealed. The Supreme Court refused. I think it was Anthony. Who was that? One of the conservative Supreme Court members rejected dealing with the law, and so it got into effect. They could have stopped it, but they didn't want to. And basically, what this law does is a very underhanded thing. They're basically offering $10,000 reward if you sue somebody who's had either had an abortion, illegal abortion, or assisted in that. And by assistance, it's very broadly defined. So if you're a taxi driver or Uber driver and you drive somebody to an abortion clinic, you could be prosecuted whether you knew it or not. You could be someone who gives someone the money to do this. You could be someone who feeds someone who's at an abortion clinic. Any manner of interaction.
You could be somebody crossing the line and telling a woman what to do with her own body, is what you could be.
Yeah. So, or what she can do with her body. So it's a law that's designed to, and I've heard that from someone else, but I had my first reaction when I heard about it is I remembered it reminded me of the Nazi laws that were set up so that a child could go and squeal about snitch about his parents being anti-establishment, anti-government, and they would get into trouble. And this is kind of similar to that. It's like you're asking people to snitch. So if you have a neighbor and you're not doing very well financially, and you see that they're going to have an abortion, you can snitch on them and get some financial aid.
It also answers the question of Amos, where the Afghan refugees may want to go and live. If any of the Afghan refugees are actually sneaking in their Taliban, well, they can go to Texas. They'll fit right in.
Yeah, they'll get funded. It's really disgusting. It's
I've heard this all my life. Don't mess with Texas. But I want to ask a question. why, Texas, are you always messing with me? I'm sick of it.
Yeah. And it's kind of ridiculous, because when you think about it, that's exactly what they're doing. They're treading on people, they're treading on women.
Yep.
And it's just so absurd when you think about it. You know how much we love mandates down here, right? Your body, my choice.
Yeah.
Texas bounty, $10,000.
I guess in Texas, they only dislike a mandate if it's a certain kind of mandate.
Yeah. And there's the empty suit hanger.
Well, yeah, but it's an empty suit. But Trump did a really good job, and with Mitch McConnell, of stacking the courts. I think it's 30 federal judges,
and it paid off. Yeah,
yeah, and these men will wear that robe until they fall over dead. So the train wreck of the Trump years is going to be ongoing for many years to come.
Right. And we're I think we're on the same page as to reducing doing term limits for Supreme Court judges. It's working for politicians. Let's have it for the court. It doesn't make sense that we'd be stuck for a generation or two with people of a particular slant of thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a long one. It might be like 12 years or something, but my gosh, it does really, the experience is showing that we need more response from the court. We really do.
And this is the...
Well, if it only went back to 55, that wouldn't be so bad, but I think it's more like going back to the 16th century.
It seems so. It reminds me of the laws that Ireland had. I think we stand out how backwards all of this is. Here's a woman complaining, you treat women like they're criminals. And the Texas legislature's guy says, oh no, little lady, we think they're victims. I don't feel like a victim. You will when
we're through with you.
Yep. You want to do this one?
Women here are considered pawns, second-class citizens. Any chance of democracy is being squelched. The growing threat from a power-hungry, radicalized government here won't stop at the border. But enough about Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or Texanistan.
That's good. Job creation. Come to Texas and hunt down victims of rape as a highly paid bounty hunter. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right. This law makes no distinction. A woman could be raped and, she can't get the abortion.
And here's another one about Afghanistan.
Yeah, something for everybody. Yeah.
So we'll have women rights, right? Except in Texas. And here's a cartoon that got reworked from a couple of weeks ago. We laugh about it because it's sad, and we
well, that's because we're no joke. It's real. Yeah.
But this is very upsetting. This is very saddening that this is the state of our politics in the 21st century. We're not even rape or medical reasons, medical issues will give you justification to have an abortion, let alone any other circumstances. And they really defined this law very strictly. It would stop allowing abortions after week 6, but it's not really defined as week 6. And this is like a time frame where most people don't even know that they don't realize yet that they're pregnant. but it's defined as having a heartbeat. And now I heard a doctor explain this, and it's not really a heartbeat. It's a murmur that comes from an area where the heart is forming in the embryo. So it's not really a heartbeat per se yet. So this is what that's what defines the end of the window for abortions in Texas.
Maybe they should be a separate country.
Well, that's what they would probably like, but I don't know. You can move across the border and have abortions outside. They can't run after you in another state. However, what that means is that puts poor people at the mercy of this law, and people with means, of course, can leave to a neighboring state and get an abortion. But people who cannot afford to pay to stay at an abortion clinic, the travel, the lodging, maybe they have family, they have two kids they have to take with them, they're not going to be able to do it.
Well, that's America. If you have money, you're free.
If you have money, you're free. So it's really and it also has, of course, more of a racial bias, because it's going to affect people of color more than white people. But not only. It's just very disturbing, and the fact remains that this is not a law striking against abortion. It's a law striking against legal abortions. In other words, you'll have the reason why we had a coat hanger in the graphics is because back when it was banned last time around, people were getting abortions by some kooks that were using coat hangers to
well, it's not just in America. There have been protests in Europe where they've marched with posters of coat hangers, because no matter where you are in the world, when you make abortion illegal, women who need an abortion, someone will find it, and they will find it from people who become specialists at doing it with coat hangers. And these people have no medical training other than giving an abortion. Well, they don't even have from that. They may have learned it from somebody else. And then women die. And that's the whole point of having, guaranteeing a woman's right to choose, so that, she can make, if you don't do that, you have coat hangers and you have deaths. And that is what you have. You have a bunch of people who don't understand the separation between church and state, making laws that are interfering and taking away freedom from other people, and, talking about freedom, my rights end where yours begin, and the other way around. In Texas, I wasn't joking. This is not 1955. This is the 15th century.
Yeah, and really, that's legislatively we cannot get ahead because of the situation we are in terms of the court makeup and all of that. But what we do have to do is move on the legislative end, and we have to push hard on that. Again, there's no substitute to calling on your representatives and asking them to do term limits for the Supreme Court, and to legislate better protections for federal better protections for abortion rights and Roe versus Wade. We gotta be much more active. If you've never
we need people to make noise. We need people to be active.
Yeah, if you've never done this before, you gotta do it. Everyone's gotta do it, because if we don't do it, nobody else is gonna do it. And our situation here is dire. So again, a call to action here. And again, if anybody wants to help with Haiti, This is where you can do it. It's New Jersey for Haiti. It's a local site, but they've been very effective, and that's they're really screwed down there.
Yeah, a local restaurant is taking, they're asking you to donate your spare change to fund a Haiti relief effort, and I did it. Now the thing is, I live in Seattle, so I know that this particular family, this particular restaurant is serious. They've done, they've been written up in the newspaper as being humanitarians and so on, and so that it really will go to Haiti somehow. So yes, it's people there are they really got hit. They got forget about their president being assassinated. That's his problem, right? I mean, don't want to be insensitive here, but your average person, what would they had an earthquake, then they got hit with a hurricane, and they were poor to start with. So it's a real messed up situation. So I'm glad you have this up here, and throwing my 2 cents about I was able to contribute something and help in a small way.
Oh, good. And again, we had some representatives on our show. Imani Oakley, running in New Jersey for Congress. She's a progressive, and her site is oakleyforcongress.com. If you wish to support her, you can do it on her site. And likewise, we had a gentleman from the south tip of Florida running for Congress, Juan Paredes, and his site is juanforcongress.com. Likewise, if you want to support him, you could do it there. And finally, we have Jessica Cisneros running in Texas. Talking about Texas.
Yeah.
Well, that would be fantastic if we had progressive coming out of there. That's her site as well here. So anybody who wants to do that, those are the sites. I think this is pretty much what we had for today, right, Keith?
Pretty much. It's we've covered what we wanted to cover. COVID, Texas, the climate.
And I see Barbara raising the rent issue. Yeah, we had shows on that before. We're going to continue shows about it. And as you all know, the Supreme Court has struck down the extension of the moratorium nationwide, which is now a huge problem. You'll see many more of these tents along the streets of our cities. Really, that the extension was really not the solution, but the solution needs to come, and we don't have any affordable housing.
We can do more on that. We should do more on this, because housing in America is all messed up. It has been forever, and we got to do more to cover it.
Yeah,
we didn't mention it today because by ending the moratorium, or by causing more people to become homeless, more people spread COVID, and more people die.
Yeah. We'll see the effects of that in the upcoming weeks. All right, and now to our outro. We have an outro by Mary Guthrie. I don't know. She's not pronouncing it Guthrie. She pronounces it, I believe, the French way. But this is a song that she sings, and very interesting singer.
Gauthier?
Guthrie, I think. Guthrie. Yeah, I think so.
I'm pretty sure about the first part, go, but the last part, I'm not sure.
Guthrie, maybe. So that's it. The song we picked for this week was Till I See You Again. Till I see you again. Oh, bye-bye. Bye, Keith.
we go. May eternity hold you in the hollow of her hand. May a soft wind enfold you as you travel distant lands. May the moon and stars delight you as the daylight dims. Till the morning sun warms your face, till I see you again. May you lay down your struggle beneath the silver sky. May a summer rain inside your dreams sing a lullaby. May there be no more sorrow, no more pain. May you sleep inside the stillness of the night till I see you again. Stranger, may you never feel alone. May you reunite with family and friends, and may they walk you home. May love embrace you